Dr. Maya Patel stared at the anomalous readings on her quantum field monitor, her coffee growing cold beside her keyboard. The particle collision data made no sense, or rather, it made too much sense. The quantum entanglement patterns were impossibly stable, creating what appeared to be a self-sustaining energy loop through supposedly empty space. "Dr. Harrison, you need to see this," she called to her supervisor, who was reviewing data from Sioran's latest antimatter containment tests. The older physicist adjusted his glasses as he examined her screen, his expression shifting from mild annoyance to intense focus. "That's impossible," he muttered, fingers flying across the keyboard as he pulled up additional sensor data. "The quantum field shouldn't be able to maintain coherence at these energy levels." Maya nodded, already running simulations on her secondary display. "Look at the wave function collapse patterns. It's like we've created a quantum tether between points in spacetime. The laser array we were using to measure particle decay. It's not just measuring the quantum states anymore, it's stabilizing them." What had started as a routine experiment in clean energy generation had stumbled upon something far more significant. Their attempt to harvest zero-point energy had instead discovered a way to create stable quantum corridors through which energy could be perfectly channeled and controlled. The implications hit Maya like a physical force. If they could replicate and scale this effect, they wouldn't just have a new energy source. They would have the ability to project and control massive amounts of energy with perfect precision through quantum-stabilized corridors in space itself. 3 months later, Maya found herself presenting her findings to a very different audience. The austere conference room at NATO headquarters in Brussels was filled with military officials and defense contractors, all trying to mask their skepticism behind diplomatic smiles. "The quantum tether effect allows us to create what are essentially perfect waveguides for electromagnetic energy," Maya explained, gesturing to the holographic display showing her test results. "By establishing quantum-locked corridors through space, we can channel laser energy with virtually zero dispersion or loss, even through atmospheric interference." "And you're certain this can be weaponized?" General Chen asked, leaning forward in his chair. The Chinese liaison officer had been the most engaged during her presentation, asking pointed technical questions that revealed a deep understanding of directed energy weapons. Maya hesitated. She was a physicist, not a weapons designer. But the math was undeniable. The principles could be applied to defensive systems, yes. A network of quantum-tethered laser platforms could provide perfect point defense against incoming projectiles or energy weapons. The system would be. She was interrupted by urgent chatter from several military aides who had suddenly received alerts on their secure devices. The NATO Secretary General himself burst into the room, his face ashen. "Dr. Patel, how quickly can your system be implemented?" he asked without preamble. "And can it be scaled to planetary defense levels?" Maya's mouth went dry as she saw the classified images now being displayed on the main screen. Multiple objects of clearly artificial origin had just been detected decelerating from relativistic speeds at the edge of the solar system. First contact was about to happen, and humanity's best defense might be an accidental discovery made by a physicist who had just wanted to solve Earth's energy crisis. "Give me 6 months and unlimited resources," she said, her mind already racing through the engineering challenges. "We'll need to launch at least 30 satellites to create a complete defensive web, and the quantum computational requirements will be enormous." "But you have 3 months," the Secretary General cut her off. "And everything you need. Because, Doctor," he gestured to the tactical display showing the incoming object's trajectory, "our visitors will be here in 4. As Maya left the conference room, already making calls to her research team, she couldn't help but appreciate the irony. She had spent her career trying to help humanity reach for the stars. Instead, she had given them a way to defend against whatever was reaching back. The next 3 months would redefine the possible, as humanity raced to deploy a defensive system unlike anything the universe had seen before. And in her quiet moments, Maya wondered if their visitors would arrive as friends or foes, and whether her discovery would end up saving Earth or starting an interstellar war. What she couldn't know was that her quantum-tethered lasers would do both, and in the process, demonstrate to the cosmos that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology, but their ability to transform their limitations into advantages in ways that more advanced civilizations had never imagined possible. The Viridian ships emerged from their faster-than-light corridor, exactly where Maya's calculations predicted they would. Their massive hulls gleamed with an otherworldly iridescence that defied conventional spectral analysis, suggesting material science centuries beyond Earth's capabilities. From her position in the Quantum Defense Network's primary control center beneath the Rocky Mountains, Maya watched the tactical displays with a mixture of awe and trepidation. The newly constructed quantum computational core hummed around her, processing real-time data from the 36 defense satellites they'd managed to deploy in the past 3 months. "Signal incoming," announced Colonel Rivera, her military liaison. They're broadcasting on multiple frequencies, using mathematical sequences as a basis for communication. Maya nodded, her attention split between the alien transmission and the quantum field readings from her defense grid. Something about the Viridian ship's hull signature was triggering alerts in her analysis systems. The way they interacted with electromagnetic radiation seemed almost intentional. "We've cracked the basic language protocol," the communications officer reported. "Translating now." The message that came through was both diplomatic and subtly threatening. The Viridians introduced themselves as members of an advanced coalition of spacefaring species. They had been observing Earth for decades and had decided humanity was finally ready for contact. But their definition of ready sent chills down Maya's spine. "Your species has reached a crucial developmental threshold," the transmission continued. "Your quantum manipulation technologies indicate you are prepared to join the galactic community. We are here to facilitate this transition." Maya's quantum field monitors suddenly spiked. The Viridian ships were scanning Earth's defense grid, their energy signatures pulsing in patterns that seemed to probe the quantum-tethered laser network. "They're testing our defenses," she realized aloud. "But not with conventional sensors. They're using quantum field manipulations that—" She trailed off as new data filled her screens. "Colonel, I need a direct communication link to their ships. Now." The Viridian response to her request was almost immediate. A holographic figure materialized in the center of the control room. Tall, vaguely humanoid, with skin that shifted colors like oil on water. Maya recognized it as a projection, likely transmitted through the same quantum fields they were using to scan Earth's defenses. "Dr. Maya Patel," the alien figure spoke, its voice a synthesized approximation of human speech. "Your quantum tether technology is interesting. Crude, but interesting. Perhaps you can explain how a species at your development level managed to stumble upon principles that took our civilization millennia to master." Maya felt a sudden clarity as pieces clicked into place. "You didn't come here because we're ready," she said. "You came because we surprised you. Our quantum defense network, it's not just new to us, is it? It's new to you too." The Viridian skin rippled with colors that Maya suspected indicated emotional states. "Your species has a tendency to discover things. Accidentally," it said. "Things that other races spent generations carefully researching and developing. It makes you unpredictable, dangerous. And you're here to make sure we develop along approved lines," Maya finished. "To guide our quantum technology research in directions you understand and can control." The hologram moved closer to her monitoring station, its crystalline eyes studying the quantum field displays. "Your implementation is flawed," it said. "Your quantum tethers are unstable, vulnerable to cascade failures. We can help you correct these deficiencies, integrate your systems with proven Viridian technologies." Maya smiled, because she had finally understood something crucial about their visitors. "Our quantum tethers aren't unstable," she said. "They're flexible, adaptable. We didn't spend millennia perfecting one approach. We found a different way entirely." She typed a command sequence into her console, and the quantum defense grid shifted configurations. The Viridian hologram's colors swirled in what seemed like alarm as its scan suddenly failed to penetrate the new quantum field arrangements. "Impossible," it said. "You cannot simply reconfigure quantum fields at will. The mathematical principles are perfect in your system," Maya finished. "But we never achieved that perfection. Instead, we learned to work with imperfection, to use quantum uncertainty instead of trying to eliminate it. Our defense grid isn't stable because it's constantly changing, evolving, finding new configurations that even we can't predict." The hologram's next words carried a weight that belied their diplomatic phrasing. "The Viridian Confederation cannot allow such chaotic implementation of quantum technologies to continue unsupervised. For the safety of all spacefaring species, I'm going to stop you right there," Maya interrupted, her fingers dancing across her console as she implemented more configuration changes. "Because I think you're about to discover that humanity's chaotic implementation is more powerful than you realized." The quantum defense grid pulsed, and for a fraction of a second, every Viridian ship in orbit lost quantum field coherence. It was just a demonstration, a fraction of the system's capability, but the message was clear. The hologram's colors had settled into a steady, deep blue that Maya interpreted as concern. "You are proposing to continue independent development. I'm proposing a genuine exchange," Maya countered. "Not supervision, not control, but true collaboration. Because I suspect we've only scratched the surface of what quantum fields can do, and maybe, just maybe, humanity's chaotic approach might show you possibilities your perfect systems never imagined." As the hologram disappeared to confer with its superiors, Maya turned back to her quantum field displays. The Viridians had revealed more than they intended, not just about their technology, but about their mindset. They had achieved perfect mastery of quantum mechanics by following rigid, established principles. But in doing so, they had lost something humanity still possessed: the ability to see past established limits, to find new paths through the quantum wilderness. The next few hours would determine whether that difference would lead to conflict or cooperation. Either way, Maya knew that humanity's relationship with the cosmos had just fundamentally changed. They had proven they could innovate in ways that surprised even ancient spacefaring civilizations. The question now was, what would they discover next? The attack on the Mars colonies came without warning. A splinter faction of the Viridian Confederation, opposed to any form of cooperation with primitive species, decided to demonstrate their superiority. Their ships, utilizing advanced quantum field technology, appeared seemingly out of nowhere near the Martian orbit. Maya watched in horror as the tactical displays showed 3 Viridian warships bearing down on the fledgling Mars settlements. The colony's basic defense systems were useless against the advanced quantum weaponry. Their only hope lay in the experimental defense platform Maya had insisted on installing there, against considerable political opposition. "Quantum defense platform Mars 1 coming online," announced Lieutenant Sarah Chen, Maya's protege who had volunteered to oversee the Martian installation. Her voice crackled through the quantum-encrypted communications channel. "But Dr. Patel, we're seeing energy signatures we've never encountered in simulations. Their weapons are evolving." Maya's fingers flew across her console, analyzing the incoming data. The rogue Viridians weren't just using standard quantum weapons. They were employing experimental technology that seemed to bend the very fabric of space-time. "They're using quantum field cascades," Maya realized, watching the pattern emerge, creating localized areas where physics itself becomes unpredictable. "Our standard defensive configurations won't work against that." But where others saw impossibility, Maya saw opportunity. The very chaos the Viridians were creating could be turned against them. She opened a direct channel to Sarah. "Lieutenant, remember that glitch we discovered during testing? The one where the quantum tethers seemed to resonate with background quantum fluctuations?" Sarah's reply was immediate, understanding dawning in her voice. "The randomization effect. But we classified that as a system failure." No, Maya corrected, already implementing emergency protocol changes. We classified it as unexpected behavior. Now it's going to save those colonies. The Martian defense platform hummed to life, but instead of establishing stable quantum tethers for its laser grid, it did something the Viridians had deemed impossible. It created a web of intentionally unstable quantum fields, each one interacting with and amplifying the natural quantum fluctuations of space itself. When the first Viridian quantum cascade weapon hit this chaotic network, the results defied conventional physics. Instead of destroying the defense grid, the weapon's energy was caught in a quantum feedback loop, its perfectly ordered structure unraveling as it encountered a defense that embraced disorder. Multiple quantum field failures detected in Viridian weapon systems, Sarah reported, her voice tight with concentration, as she fine-tuned the defense platform's revolutionary configuration. Their attacks are. They're actually destabilizing their own ship's quantum field coherence. Maya watched as the tactical displays told a story that should have been impossible. The Viridian ships, with their perfect quantum engineering, were being undone by a defense system that turned their own precision against them. Every attempt to compensate, to restore order to their quantum fields, only made things worse. "This is Lieutenant Chen to all Mars colonies," Sarah broadcast. "Maintain your emergency protocols, but the immediate threat has been neutralized." Repeat, threat neutralized. The lead Viridian ship, its quantum fields in disarray, opened a communication channel. The commander's holographic projection showed colors that Maya had learned to interpret as a mixture of rage and disbelief. "This is impossible," the Viridian declared. "You cannot defeat quantum cascade weapons with chaos." "Actually," Maya replied, allowing herself a small smile, "that's exactly what we did. Your weapons require perfect quantum field coherence to function. We simply created an environment where such perfection cannot exist. Sometimes the best defense isn't a stronger wall. It's no wall at all." As the rogue Viridian ships retreated, their weapons rendered useless by a defense that shouldn't have worked, Maya was already looking ahead. The quantum randomization effect they had discovered wasn't just a defensive tool. It represented a completely new way of understanding and manipulating quantum fields. "Sarah," she called over the still open channel to Mars, "download all the sensor data from this encounter. Every quantum fluctuation, every field interaction. We've just seen something that changes everything we thought we knew about quantum mechanics. The Viridian Confederation won't like this," Sarah warned. "They barely accepted our original quantum tether technology. This proves we can innovate in ways they never imagined." Maya nodded, though her attention was already focused on the new patterns emerging in her analysis. "That's exactly why we need to understand it better. Because I have a feeling we haven't seen the last of those who think humanity needs to be controlled rather than collaborated with." She was right. The attack on Mars was just the beginning. But it had proven something crucial, that humanity's greatest strength lay not in matching the advanced quantum engineering of species like the Viridians, but in finding entirely new ways to approach problems. Ways that turned conventional wisdom on its head and made the impossible possible. As Maya began documenting the quantum randomization effect for further study, she couldn't help but wonder what other impossible discoveries were waiting to be made, and how would they reshape humanity's place in a universe that was proving to be far more complex and far more interesting than anyone had imagined. The quantum sensors detected the Viridian battle fleet long before conventional systems could have spotted them. Over 200 ships, their quantum fields humming with power that bent space itself, emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the solar system. This wasn't a splinter group's rogue action. This was a full-scale invasion force. Maya stood in the heart of Earth's Defense Command, surrounded by holographic displays showing quantum field patterns that shouldn't have been possible. The Viridians had clearly been holding back during previous encounters. These ships carried weapons that made their earlier quantum cascade technology look primitive. They found a way to create stable quantum singularities, she announced, studying the energy signatures. They're using them to generate weapons-grade quantum fields that could tear apart our defense grid at the subatomic level. Colonel Rivera, who had stood by her through countless crises, merely nodded. How long until they're in range? 4 hours, Maya replied. But that's not our biggest problem. She gestured to a particular pattern in the quantum field data. Look at their formation. They're not just coordinating their attacks, they're linking their quantum fields. Each ship is part of a larger quantum network. Is that bad? Sarah Chen asked through the quantum comm link from Mars. After successfully defending the colonies, she had been tasked with coordinating the combined Earth-Mars defense network. It's brilliant, Maya admitted. They've taken our quantum tether concept and scaled it to levels we never imagined. Their entire fleet can act as a single quantum system. When they attack, she paused, running calculations. The combined energy output would overwhelm any conventional defense. Good thing we don't do conventional, Sarah replied, and Maya could hear the smile in her voice. The quantum randomization effect that worked on Mars, could we scale that up? Maya was already typing, bringing up simulation models. Yes, but not enough. They'll be expecting that now. We need something new. She stopped suddenly, staring at a particular quantum field equation, or maybe something very, very old. Dr. Patel, Colonel Rivera prompted. Wave-particle duality, Maya said slowly, an idea taking shape. The most basic principle of quantum mechanics. Light is both a wave and a particle simultaneously until observed. We've been focusing on the particle aspects in our weapons, using quantum fields to guide and enhance laser pulses. But what if? She didn't finish the sentence, her fingers already implementing the new protocols. Around Earth and Mars, the quantum defense platforms began to shift configuration. Instead of creating discrete quantum tethers for laser targeting, they started generating overlapping fields of quantum uncertainty. Maya, Sarah's voice held a note of concern. These settings, you're deliberately inducing quantum superposition across the entire defense grid. The system wasn't designed for this. No system is designed for this, Maya agreed. That's the point. Colonel, order all conventional forces to fall back behind a quantum defense perimeter. What's about to happen? Well, let's just say normal physics won't apply. The Viridian fleet entered weapons range exactly on schedule, their quantum-linked ships moving with perfect coordination. Their first attack was magnificent in its complexity. Thousands of quantum singularities blossoming into existence simultaneously, their combined gravitational forces threatening to tear space itself apart. But instead of trying to resist or deflect this overwhelming force, Earth's defense grid did something unprecedented. It accepted the quantum uncertainty these singularities created and amplified it. The overlapping fields of quantum superposition turned the very fabric of space-time into a probability wave. Energy patterns are shifting, Sarah reported, her voice filled with wonder. The Viridian weapons aren't failing, they're transforming. Every quantum singularity they create is becoming part of our defense grid's superposition field. Maya watched as physics itself seemed to rebel against the Viridians' perfect quantum engineering. Their linked fleet, designed to act as a single powerful quantum system, found itself caught in a region of space where quantum states refused to collapse into certainty. Every attempt to coordinate their attacks only increased the uncertainty. Impossible. The Viridian commander's transmission cut through all channels. You cannot maintain coherent quantum superposition at these scales. The energy requirements alone. You're right, Maya replied calmly. We can't maintain it. But we don't need to. We just need to let it happen naturally. She gestured to the tactical displays, where the Viridian fleet's perfect formation was dissolving into chaos. You tried to master quantum mechanics by controlling it. We learned to work with it by accepting its fundamental nature. The battle that followed defied conventional description. The Viridians' quantum-linked weapons, designed to operate with perfect precision, found themselves in a region of space where precision itself was a mathematical impossibility. Their attempts to compensate only made things worse, as each adjustment created new layers of quantum uncertainty. Earth's defense grid, meanwhile, didn't try to attack the Viridian ships directly. Instead, it created conditions where their own quantum technology became unpredictable. Ships that tried to fire weapons found their energy redirected in impossible ways. Attempts to coordinate fleet movements led to quantum entanglement effects that scattered their formation. "They're retreating," Sarah announced finally. "Their quantum field coherence is completely disrupted. They can't maintain their linked network anymore." Maya nodded, already analyzing the data from the encounter. "We didn't just defend against their attack," she said quietly. "We showed them something they never thought possible, that quantum uncertainty isn't a limitation to be overcome. It's a fundamental force that can be worked with if you're willing to let go of the need for perfect control." As the Viridian fleet disappeared into faster-than-light travel, Maya turned to Colonel Rivera. "Get me a secure channel to the Viridian Confederation leadership," she requested. "I think it's time we had a real discussion about the future of quantum physics research." The battle was over, but its implications were just beginning to unfold. Humanity had proven that their primitive approach to quantum mechanics could overcome even the most advanced quantum weapons. But more importantly, they had demonstrated that true mastery of quantum technology didn't come from controlling it. It came from understanding and working with its inherent nature. The universe, Maya reflected, had many more lessons to teach them all. 1 year after the failed Viridian invasion, Maya stood before a very different audience in a very different place. The crystalline architecture of the Galactic Confederation's central chamber on Alpha Centauri's primary space station reflected light in ways that seemed to defy physics, or at least the physics she had known before. The quantum uncertainty drive, she explained to the assembled representatives of 17 spacefaring civilizations, isn't just a new method of propulsion. It represents a fundamental shift in how we interact with quantum mechanics itself. The holographic display behind her showed the first successful test of humanity's latest innovation, a ship that didn't so much travel through space as it worked with space's inherent quantum uncertainty to exist in multiple locations simultaneously, resolving its position only when reaching its destination. By embracing quantum uncertainty rather than trying to eliminate it, Maya continued, we've opened up possibilities that traditional quantum engineering approaches missed. The same principles that allowed us to defend Earth now let us navigate space in ways previously thought impossible. The Viridian representative, their skin shifting through thoughtful shades of blue and green, raised a crystalline appendage. Your species continues to challenge our understanding of quantum mechanics. But these methods, they seem chaotic, unpredictable. That's because they are, Maya agreed with a smile. And that's their strength. The universe itself operates on principles of uncertainty and probability. By accepting and working with that fundamental nature instead of trying to impose perfect order, we've discovered that chaos can be more powerful than control. She gestured to another display, showing the transformed Earth defense grid. What had started as a network of quantum-tethered laser platforms had evolved into something far more sophisticated. The grid now generated overlapping fields of quantum probability, creating a defense system that adapted and evolved in response to any threat. But the real breakthrough, Maya continued, came when we stopped thinking of quantum uncertainty as a problem to be solved. Look at this. She brought up data from the latest experiments. We found that quantum fields naturally seek out states of dynamic equilibrium. By working with these natural tendencies instead of against them, we can achieve effects that rigid quantum engineering could never produce. The chamber erupted in discussion as representatives debated the implications. Maya caught sight of Sarah Chen, now Earth's chief quantum systems architect, nodding approvingly from her position among the human delegation. The applications extend far beyond defense or propulsion. Maya pressed on once the chamber quieted. Medical technology, energy production, computational systems, Every field that touches quantum mechanics can be revolutionized by this new approach, but only if we work together, combining your experience with our fresh perspective. The Viridian representative's colors shifted to a deep purple, a sign of profound realization, Maya had learned. You are proposing that we abandon millennia of established quantum engineering principles. Not abandon, Maya corrected. Evolve. Your perfect quantum systems are incredible achievements, but they're also limited by their very perfection. By introducing controlled uncertainty, by allowing for adaptation and emergence, we can create technologies that grow and evolve naturally. She brought up one final display, a real-time visualization of quantum fields interacting across the solar system. The patterns were beautiful in their complexity, showing how Earth's defense grid had begun to develop emergent behaviors that even its creators hadn't anticipated. This is what happens when we stop trying to force quantum mechanics to behave the way we think it should, Maya explained. The system isn't just defending Earth anymore. It's learning, adapting, finding new ways to work with the quantum nature of reality itself. The implications weren't lost on her audience. Several representatives were already engaging in urgent discussions with their homeworlds. The Viridian representative's colors had shifted to a previously unseen pattern that suggested deep contemplation. We stand at a turning point, Maya concluded, not just for humanity, but for all spacefaring civilizations. The question isn't whether we can control quantum mechanics perfectly. It's whether we're willing to let go of control enough to see what quantum mechanics can teach us. As the chamber filled with excited discussion, Sarah made her way to Maya's position. Not bad for a species that just discovered quantum field manipulation a few years ago, she said with a grin. Maya nodded, watching the quantum field display continue its endless dance of probability and possibility. We had an advantage, she replied. We were too new to quantum mechanics to be bound by conventional wisdom. Sometimes the best way to make a breakthrough is to not know what's supposed to be impossible. The defense grid that had started it all was still evolving, still discovering new ways to work with quantum uncertainty. But it had become something more than a weapon or a shield. It was proof that the universe held more possibilities than even the most advanced civilizations had imagined. And humanity, with its willingness to embrace uncertainty and challenge established limits, was helping to unlock those possibilities. The future that stretched before them wasn't just about defending Earth anymore. It was about discovering what could happen when intelligence and quantum mechanics began to work together in harmony, guided not by rigid control but by understanding and adaptation. As Maya prepared for the next phase of presentations, she couldn't help but smile at the irony. In trying to defend themselves against invasion, humanity had stumbled upon something far more valuable, a new way of seeing the universe itself and their place within it. The quantum uncertainty that had once been seen as a limitation had become their greatest strength, and in that transformation lay the promise of discoveries yet to come, in a universe that proved more wonderful and strange with each new understanding they achieved.